Welcome into a brand new edition of the Desmond Johnson Show here on Tobacco Road Sports Radio, tobaccoroadsportsradio.com. You can catch us, all of our shows. Everything is back. Fall is officially here. If you didn't check outside, I know it's not officially here, but it feels like it. Got JJ here, one of the co-hosts for Panther fans only. It's a Carolina Panthers-centric episode. We're getting to JJ's big three, his big three questions going into the Panthers versus Browns game at Bank of America Stadium on Friday. That's a 7 o'clock kickoff. You can watch it locally here on WFMY News 2. We'll get into that, and we'll also get into this Micah Parsons versus Dallas Cowboys situation. If you are Panther General Manager Dan Morgan, do you kick the tires? Do you give Jerry Jones a call? Do you see, hey, I got Micah Parsons over on the side. Maybe want to trade him because he's going to get traded. What do we do? I don't know. All that. We'll get into it here with JJ and more. It's a Tuesday edition of the Desmond Johnson Show. Let's go ahead and roll that intro.
Live with Desmond Johnson, son, the live is one. Represent NC to the fullest.
Yeah, welcome to the Carolinas. Everywhere you go, the sky is Carolina blue, the finest. Live action, feedback, the city need that. I've been number one, no cap. Here's the recap. Adrenaline is my addiction. I'm about to relapse. Step on the turf if you won't and get your weed whacked. I'm going harder than a martyr on the starter end. It's the heart of man, that's a rap like a cardigan. I'm breaking records, it's 4th and inches. I count the seconds. The over-under's my roar of thunder, my secret weapon. Yeah, the game is to be told. I don't break, I break modes. Follow me on Tobacco Road.
Live with Desmond Johnson, son, the live is one. Represent NC to the fullest.
And again, welcome back to the Desmond Johnson Show here on Tobacco Road Sports Radio, tobaccoroadsportsradio.com. We're kind of getting back to the swing of things with our full schedule. Of course, we're on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, 12:30 p.m. live across the Triad. You can catch us on YouTube here and across our Facebook outlet and our X stream at Des Johnson Show. We will be moving our Friday shows. If you are familiar with me and the shows I've done in the past, we used to do a show on Saturday called The Rundown with Desmond Johnson. It was a live show on WSJS Sports Hub here in the Triad. When I left there, we continued it on online. That morphed into something else and eventually into the Desmond Johnson Show. Due to popular demand, we're bringing that back on Saturdays. So we will do high school football recaps. We'll be able to do college football previews up to 12 noon when the games kick off. And we'll be doing NFL previews as well. So instead of the Friday show, it'll actually be Saturday mornings now. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Saturday, once high school football kicks off, it'll be about a 10:30 start. We'll run till 12 noon. This Saturday, we'll be at 11 o'clock live here on YouTube. So make sure you come by, check us out. If you're listening or watching right now on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Kick, Twitch, you can leave a comment in the comment section. We'll post it here at the bottom of the screen. Got JJ here, one of the hosts for the For Panthers Fans Only podcast. I like bringing in Panther content creators so that they can actually give us their opinion on what they're seeing. JJ, what's going on, brother? How you doing?
Chatting, man. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm happy football is back. I know it's August the 5th, but it's 63 degrees outside my house right now in Kernersville, so it feels like fall. I know you said you're kicking at the beach right now, right?
Yeah, I'm down at Hilton Head with my family right now, man. I actually hit Fan Fest on Saturday and then Sunday morning took the trek down here. So, I've been on the move, but the weather has made that a lot easier. I'll say that.
Right, yeah, for sure. So I do want to, before we get into the Panther things, and today we're doing JJ's big three, his three big questions going into the start of preseason. Again, the Panthers taking on the Cleveland Browns. I don't even know. We'll probably see all five quarterbacks from Cleveland during that game on Friday. 7 o'clock kickoff, WFMY News 2. If you're in the Triad, Greensboro, Winston, High Point area, you can watch it live there on the Panthers television network. Before we do that, though, I wanted to get into a little around the league, but really I want to focus on what pretty much every sports talking show has focused on the past summer, which is Dallas, the Dallas Cowboys. You can't turn on First Take or Get Up without them leading off with something going on in Big D. But this kind of maybe affects us a little bit because there's a situation going on where Micah Parsons, I'd say JJ is top 3 defensive player in the league, probably. Would you give him that top 3, top 5?
Yeah, 1,000%. No question.
Okay, he's 20
for sure.
He's 23, 24, I believe. He's still in his rookie deal, wanting to get paid. Jerry Jones is playing hardball. We've seen this before with all of their stars, Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, all the way back to Emmitt Smith back in 1990. too, where for some reason Jerry Jones decides he's going to wait, thinking he's going to get a better deal, and he never does. He always has to overpay because he waited to sign the original deal in the first place. And this one is kind of weird, JJ, because this deal should already been done. The CeeDee Lamb joint, he was waiting on Justin Jefferson to sign, so he had something to compare it to. TJ Watt signed like months ago, and they've got something to compare it to, yet there's still Jerry Jones isn't talking to the agent. He's going straight to Micah Parsons, and then Micah Parsons comes out and says he no longer wants to be a Cowboy and demands a trade, to which Jerry Jones says, don't worry about that. Like literally like kind of just brushes it off. Before we get into possibilities, your thoughts on this whole situation breaking down, and what do you think the locker room's thinking while they're watching this?
I mean, I know Michael came out and said what he said, like he doesn't want to be a Cowboy, whatever the case may be. I personally don't think that that's the case. I think it's a tactic. I think we saw it with Myles Garrett. This is the same exact way that situation played out, right? He wants his money. That's the only thing. And like you mentioned, the deal should have already been done. Like if you go back and you look at Micah's statement, the iPhone note that he sent out on X, he said multiple times that, you know, he had multiple conversations and he told the Cowboys exactly explicitly what he wanted. And he told them to get in contact with his agent and they could have got a deal done. And transparently, I believe it could have gotten done before the TJ Watt deal. But you know what I'm saying? Before the price of the market was driven up by that deal. And I believe that Micah Parsons would have taken a discount. Now, I don't necessarily know if that's the situation at this point in time, to be honest. And if I'm Micah, now you guys have handled the situation the way that y'all have. I need every dime now. Like that hometown discount, all of that, like that's out the window because y'all continue to play with my name. Y'all continue to, you know, play the media antics and things of that nature. And it's just, you know, it's just not conducive with what I'm trying to do as an individual if I'm Micah. So yeah, it's Jerry. It's Jerry.
It's Jerry.
It has talking about the Cowboys yet again.
It's crazy too because you never hear a player saying they want to leave Dallas. You know what I'm saying? Like no one ever said it's like I want to leave the Lakers. No one ever says that. No one says I want to leave the Yankees. Like and Mike is out here saying, hey, I don't want to be a Cowboy anymore. I found it very unique and funny that I found this old clip maybe from like last year. It was on a podcast or something where Micah was saying his favorite team growing up was the Carolina Panthers. So we're in August, so we're allowed to do this in August. So let's just walk down this road for a little bit. If you're Dan Morgan, general manager and head chef of the Carolina Panthers, do you call Jerry Jones, knowing that Jerry's going to probably laugh when you ask about it? But do you call and kick the tires on this? Do you go, hey, we might be able to do something here? Like considering we just gave up a lot for Bryce 2 years ago. Dan's kind of recouped all those picks back and then some. And we'll get into this a little bit. Dan's got a nice little eye for picking up undrafted free agents and filling in spots. And we'll get to that in just a second. But your thoughts on this? Should the Panthers kick the tires on a potential Micah Parsons trade?
Yes, 1,000%. I believe it would be malpractice if they don't call. If Dan Morgan doesn't call, I believe it would be malpractice. Honestly, like I know everybody's like, you know, Jerry might not want to deal, but at the very least, you should go check and see what the cost is. And I'm in a couple of group chats, and of course, when the news broke, I'm one of those people. I'm a huge Micah Parsons fan, to be honest, and I think that whatever the price is, if he is actually on the table, you pay it. Obviously, you got to make sure with Brent Tillis that monetarily we can make it happen, and we'll be able to, you know, move some numbers around, whatever the case may be. But Dan Morgan in this front office 1,000% should be making that phone call. And honestly, there's not a big name in the NFL that the Carolina Panthers shouldn't be calling about, in my opinion. We're not talented enough. So at the very least, you need to figure out what the asking price is for, like I said, majority of the NFL when we're talking about stars and guys that have the ability to change the game. And I believe you mentioned that Micah Parsons being a top 3 defensive player. I will go as far as to say, to be honest, I believe he's top 5 overall in the league as far as his impact.
Yeah, I give him that easy.
That's just my opinion.
Yeah. He's a game changer.
So,
you know, Cam Newton was talking about this last year, and I had a couple shows where we debated the definition of game changer versus game manager. He was referring to quarterbacks, but they're game changers on defense too. You know, and you know them when you see them. Deion Sanders was a game changer. You know, I'm trying to think. Ed Reed was a game changer. Micah Parsons is a game changer. Like if you bring Micah Parsons in, it changes the dynamic of your defense from day one. So it's like Are you willing to pay Mike? I can't remember what TJ's getting. It's like 40 million a year.
I think it's 40 million a year. And to be honest, like with this whole debacle, I think that Micah Parsons is going to end up getting 45 a year. Like that's my number in my head that I believe he's going to get.
Do we want to give him 45 million? Because that's really what it comes down to. Can we give him 45? I mean, we'd have to ship off some players.
Yeah. I don't know if we can. I don't know if we can make that happen. Like that's why I said you got to get with Brent Tillis and make sure that we can make it happen monetarily. But I do believe he's going to get 45. And if there's any player in the NFL that I'm willing to give 45 to that is not a quarterback, Micah Parsons is that guy.
Yeah. If you got to give it to somebody, I'd rather give it to Micah Parsons than the three other guys trying to fill in the roles. So you make good points, JJ. JJ here from For Panther Fans Only podcast. You can definitely find them on Twitter at FPFO. What's the rest of your? I'm sorry. It's FPFO _ podcast. You can find it there over on X and follow them. They do excellent work over there. Let's get into it. Panthers again taking on the Browns. 7:00 p.m. Friday kickoff at Bank of America Stadium. Get out there if you can. If not, you can watch it locally on Panthers Television Network or listen to it on the Panthers Radio Network with our buddy Anish Shroff. Let's get into it. JJ's big three questions. You gave me three topics that you want to discuss. Let's start off with the inside linebackers because I'm very interested in this as well. Josey Jewell cut by the Panthers after having a concussion at the end of last season, still having effects from it. Panthers cut ties with Jewell. They brought in some free agency help. Trevin Wallace looks to have a big second-year leap this year. Your thoughts on the inside linebackers?
Yeah, 1,000%. The first thing that I'm going to say, like just about the Josey Jewell situation, and I've seen a lot of people just discuss the positive that we saw this front office do throughout this offseason. And I mentioned on my podcast, like I don't want to be that negative guy. Like that's not who I want to be. But at the same time, like we have to acknowledge certain facts. And I believe that this is one of the few situations that this current front office had a significant misstep in, to be honest. I think that the Carolina Panthers did not do a good job at preparing for this potential possibility with Josey Jewell having to be cut, right? Because I just don't believe by any stretch of the imagination that the Carolina Panthers, this front office, this coaching staff, the training staff, etc., wasn't aware that Josey Jewell had been suffering from concussion-like symptoms for 7 months. So that's number one. I just don't believe that. Secondly, I mean, you not addressing that situation, because even with Josey Jewell in this room, and we discussed this with Dunk yesterday when we did our Fan Fest recap or whatever the case may be. Even with Josey Jewell, this room is below average. Like if we're having an honest conversation, this room is below average.
I don't want to say anything, but yeah, I'm nervous.
Yeah, me too. Like people will say whatever they want to say about Trevin Wallace and the situation that he was forced to be in with the injury to Shaq Thompson, right? But unfortunately, Trevin Wallace, for me personally, didn't show me enough to make me believe that he's going to be a competent starting inside linebacker for the Carolina Panthers going into year 2. Like he just didn't. And I know a lot of people are excited about Christian Roseboom with his 130 plus tackles or whatever the case may be. But understand that all tackles are not created equally. So if you actually turn on the film and look at the tape, I mean, he's serviceable, but it's not a guy that's jumping off the screen. Transparent.
I didn't think any of the guys they signed in free agency were like needle movers. Like I thought they were all rotational players. Even like Bobby Brown, like all of them, none of them were like, oh, this guy's going to make a huge difference like in our defense. If anything, they learned from last year where by the time we got to week 14, week 15, and I don't know, maybe it was just me, JJ, I'm sitting in my living room getting ready to watch Panther football, almost like a chore at that point. But it was starting to get fun again because Bryce was back and, we're like, okay, we're starting to see a little something. There were times, man, where they would put the starters on the screen for defense, like towards the end of the year. And I'm just kind of looking at it. Yeah, I'm like, who's that? Who is that? And I cover the team. I don't even know who is this cornerback that just showed up 4 days ago. And they ran out of bodies. And I think that free agency this year, especially on defense, really had to do with that. Like they wanted to fill in the gaps and do it by committee as opposed to now. They tried to go get the guy that eventually signed with the Patriots. Right there at the very beginning of free agency. When that didn't work, they pivoted to plan B and just started filling in gaps. And if they can stay healthy, getting Derek Brown back too, that'll help those inside linebackers. But behind having DB in front of them with Ferguson, those other guys up there like Brown. If you rotate all of them out like that and keep that constant wall in front of them, maybe Trevor Wallace does have a breakout year. But to your defense, to your defense, I don't know if we should expect it. Wallace was a third round selection, if I'm not mistaken. It's not the same as Shaq Thompson or Luke Kuechly or John Beeson or Dan Morgan or those are all first round top 20 picks. It's a difference in level. So I understand what you're saying with Trevin. That is the spot on this team that I'm the most concerned about, is the inside linebacker spot in terms of depth. And I don't know if they're going to play a lot of dime maybe, or maybe drop Child Wade Smith maybe down to the box more to help out or something like that. I heard he's been playing a lot of nickel and kind of owning that position. So maybe they do something to that effect, but that's what preseason is for. So hopefully we'll get a chance to see the scheme. And I think we're going to see a lot of those bodies in these preseason games. Head coach Dave Canales did say that the starters would be playing weeks 1 and week 2 of the preseason, a pretty healthy amount. So we should see a lot of that. Now, I don't know if Bryce is going to be playing, and I would actually say don't play him. There's really no reason to, unless you just really want to see him kind of, after Cam got hurt a couple of years ago, I'm kind of like, you know what, this ain't gonna really matter, because the past 2 off seasons, JJ, you could test this, especially when fans could still see everything during training camp. We have left training camp thinking Bryce Young is getting it. You know what I mean? Like Bryce Young is on point. He's zipping passes. Oh, he beat down the Jets defense. He looked fantastic. We hear all these stories coming out. And then week 1 gets here, and we're like, oh no, that doesn't look like what we heard at all. So I'm like, does he really need to play during the preseason and possibly get injured? But you don't want to put that into his mind either of, well, we don't want to play because you might get hurt. So
you might get hurt. Yeah.
So it depends on him.
I'll give you some pushback on that. The only reason why I do want to see Bryce is because I feel like we tried the ideology of not playing the starters last year, specifically like Bryce Young in the preseason. Now, I know we saw the offense for one drive against Buffalo, but I don't believe that they got the amount of work that they needed. In my opinion, it showed, right? So it's one of those situations where I believe that Bryce and the whole entire starting unit should be playing. It doesn't have to be in excess. I mean, a drive, maybe 2, that's going to be good enough for me. But I would like to see everybody that's going to be in the starting lineup at least getting those game reps.
Yeah, and I get that, and I do want to see it. I do want to see the offense. I want to see the offense in terms of the way it's supposed to look, and we'll get into some of that here in just a bit too. But got JJ here with us, host of the For Panthers Fans Only podcast. You can catch that on X. These guys are out usually at least once a week with brand new episodes, great analysis and insight with Carolina Panthers as we do our Carolina Panther content Creator Tuesday here on Tobacco Road Sports Radio. Second thing, as we were in JJ's Big 3, who wins the free safety job? Interesting here, because that's another spot where I'm kind of like, they actually got some bodies back there. And I'm curious about the rookie. So give me your thoughts on who you think is going to ultimately win this job.
Well, for me personally, I think Damani is going to pull it out. Now I will say, like I mentioned, I went to Fan Fest on Saturday, and Nick Scott was the guy that they rolled out with the starting unit. But I don't believe that Nick Scott is better than Damani Richardson, to be honest. I think that Damani Richardson has more of those game changer traits than Nick Scott does. But then we can't forget about Lathan Ransom either, the rookie out of Ohio State. Now, I mean, you look at the practice that he had today. I think Joe Person put it out. I believe he said he had a PBU, an interception, and a would-be sack. So he's a guy that's he's a guy that's coming in and making plays. And even at Fan Fest, we saw at one point or another the punt team ran a fake punt, and the catch went to him. He took it for like 90+ yards. You know what I'm saying? So he's a guy that's making the impact.
He's one of those dogs that Dave or that Dan Morgan was talking about at his introductory press conference. So you can just see it in his tape from Ohio State. Yeah. He's a thumper. Jonathan Stewart said it best to me when we were reviewing this at the draft. Like, he's a thumper. And he knew because they played Oregon in the in the playoffs. And he was like, he put a hit on his dude. He's constantly downhill, like constantly. And he's another guy where maybe The inside linebacker thing might not mean as much if they're going to do more safety blitzes or something to that effect, bring pressure from there, because Ransom can get there. We already know Morgan can get there. That's kind of how he built his reputation with the Raiders. And I think they may be okay. Again, injuries notwithstanding, if they're healthy and can play as a unit back there, I think they might be all right. But yeah, I like Ransom. There's some rookies I'm really rooting for on this roster that I didn't expect to be rooting for. Ransom and Jimmy Horn Jr. In the wide receiver room. I'm really rooting for them. And I think Horn's gonna make this team. Like, I don't even think it's a question.
He's special.
He's got that burst. It's something, and none of the receivers have it. Like, there's Tet and X, they can get down the field, like if they can get ahead of a crowd and run. But Horn's got like Smitty bursts, like quick twitch, like that
like
juice
out
in
of there.
space. Yeah, like he can make his own thing happen. Like, and that's why I'm like, yes, and he's gonna make the team because he can do more than one thing. He's special teams too, so he's gonna make the team. And then me and Stu talked about this last week on Believe in Panthers. Hunter Renfrow, it's not even a question of if he's gonna make the team at this point. It's a matter of what wide receiver is. Is he wide receiver 3? Is he 4? Is he 5? Like, he's gonna make the team. So people need to go ahead and get adjusted to that. And he's gonna be a huge help too. I think this might be the most talented wide receiver room top to bottom ever. Yeah, with the Panthers. Like, it's crazy. You're looking at him like, this can't be right.
We have a lot of weapons and a lot of guys that offer you a lot of different things, in my opinion. Like, honestly, it's a very well put together room. And I'm excited.
Me too.
We've never seen Bryce have this amount of weapons.
That scares me though, JJ. That scares me that we're both so excited, because we've been excited for the past 4 Augusts where we're like, we're excited, excited, and then like we get to September, we're like, man, you remember back in August when we was, having a great
that's
time.
The joy of it. That's part of the
exactly
the process.
Everybody's 0-0 right now, so we're allowed to do this in August. Now, if we're still tripping like in the middle of September and we're 0-2 and getting blasted or whatever, then y'all can come after us. But I don't think that's going to happen this year. I think the Panthers are about to turn a corner. It just feels different. JJ in the house here from for Panthers fans only, FPFO _, online, no, podcast, over on X/Twitter, whatever the kids call it these days. The JJ's big 3 questions here coming out of Panthers training camp, heading to this first preseason game versus the Browns on Friday. Is Thornton that guy? When you sent me these things, I kind of heard his name on the peripheral, but I wasn't really paying that much attention. And then I went to go look up, so I was like, did he spell it wrong? Did he mean Scorden? Like, let me make sure. And I went to go check, and I'm like, okay, this is kid Corey Thornton, came out of Louisville, 6'1", he's playing cornerback. Oh, my buddy Joe Parsons sitting here saying that, yeah, he's flashing. Oh, my guy over here saying, yeah, he's doing his thing. Oh, he showed up at FanFest. Like, give us the story on Corey Thornton and your questions whether or not he's the guy or not, because he ran a lot with the first unit on Saturday during FanFest because they let JC Horn rest. So it was him and Mike Jack out there, and apparently, according to all estimates, he's done very well, and he's run a lot with the first team. Give us your thoughts on Corey Thornton here, this undrafted free agent, maybe another gem from Dan Morgan.
Yeah, he's another one of those guys, like you said. It seems to be another gem from Dan Morgan, and for me personally, it's very, very similar to what we experienced with Damani Richardson last year. If you remember, nobody really knew who Damani Richardson was. He wasn't getting much buzz, but then instantly, in practice, he just started making plays. And Corey Thornton is very, very similar, in my opinion, just based on that and based on the information that we're getting out of camp. Now, obviously, spectators are not allowed right now, so it's kind of difficult because there's certain, propaganda pieces and things like that come out. But honestly, when everybody is saying the same thing about one guy, you have to believe it. And like you mentioned, we had the opportunity to see it at FanFest on Saturday as well. He did get a lot of reps with that first team on the opposite side of Mike Jackson because JC Horn was, he's putting his work at this point. So we're gonna be as cautious as possible with him. But like I said, he had the opportunity to run with the ones in FanFest, and people were saying that he locked T-Mac up and he was locking T-Mac up. I don't necessarily subscribe to that belief by any stretch of the imagination. He did have a lot of good reps. But I think that he is what everybody is saying that he is. And in a room where there's a lot of question marks, specifically as it pertains to depth, this honestly is a breath of fresh air, in my opinion.
Yeah, and it's pretty cool that out of all these different front office configurations and coaching staffs and stuff that we've seen since Tepper bought the team, it feels like this is the first one with Dan Morgan where maybe since Rivera was here, when Marty Herney was still here, where every once in a while they'd find a diamond in the rough, like a Josh Norman, a late round pick, something like that would grow into a starter. Dan's starting to build a track record here of finding dudes, like at least 2 or 3 that are undrafted that he brings in, and they become role players, like on the squad. Like they can, and they're young, and they can grow into players. Jalen Coker, perfect example last year. You know, no one would have had Jalen Coker on this roster at the end of the year, at the beginning of the year last year. He caught 32 passes last year. He's probably going to make the team. Like, I don't think he's going to get cut either. Like, he's on the team. The coaches love him. And it's that mentality, too, what we were talking about before, that dog mentality that Dan was talking about. Having those kind of guys on the roster, like a Corey Thornton, who's basically playing for his career, like every time he steps out there, that pushes the limit for every single person in that cornerback room, even if you already got your money, like J.C. Horn, to show, hey, this is why I got this money. Like, I'm A1 cornerback in here. I need to show why, because I got a young kid from Louisville that ain't got no money at all in his pocket pushing me because he ain't got no choice. He's starving. Like, you know, and that's the competition they wanted to build. And they didn't have that before when we had the Avengers coaching staff here, when we had Matt Rule and his nonsense here. What really, you know what it feels like now in hindsight? It feels like Matt Rule got like a pimp's Cadillac that still had like stuff on it, but it wasn't completely like decked out. And then he just methodically started stripping it down, kind of, but he kind of wanted to keep the Cadillac. So like every once in a while he'd strip it down, then he'd add something. And then eventually everybody got mad at him and he had to sell the car. So when Frank Wright gets the car, Frank Wright don't know how to drive a Cadillac. So he's just like, I'm gonna let my friends drive it or whatever. And they drove it all over the neighborhood, got it dirty, messed up, started talking smack about him in the back seat. Everybody got out the car. Dave Canales inherits the Cadillac. He's like, I'm going to strip this thing all the way down to the studs, trade it in, and get something better, like a Yukon or something. And then we're going to build this up. And that's what it feels like is happening right now. And it's took a while for my mindset to flip, like from carryover from previous regimes. It feels like we've made a fresh cut from what's been happening before. Now, the national media, I don't know if they've caught on to that, but it does feel like in this offseason, the national media is starting to latch on a little bit. Like, Xavier Legette, he's been all over the place. You know, Ted McMillan's
the national media has been fanned out, and I just want them to stand on business. They've been hating on us for the past 3, 4, 5 years in a row. I don't want all the love now. Let us.
Yeah, we don't want that. We'll ask y'all get on the bus later on, but yeah, for right now, let us just focus on working. Shout out to What's Up, Doug, another content creator in the Panther content creator nation. He says, I understand Winfro is a lock, but lingering hamstring injury is not good. I agree with that. Winfro is 30, if I'm not mistaken. I think he just turned 30. Here's a telltale sign right here. If Winfro's going to make the team, they'll just hold him out until he's better. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like if they don't know if he's going to make the team, then you're going to see him trying to push to get back early. But if he's pretty much a lock to be one of these 6, I assume minimum 6 wide receivers, they might go 7. I don't know, but if they keep 6, Winfro's going to be one of them. And I think that they think he's going to be a major part of their plans. I think he's the Thielen replacement, basically. Like he's going to.
I think so too.
He's going, but before the end of the season, like I wouldn't be surprised. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they trade Thielen before the season is over. If Winfro especially starts to flash, it's Thielen's last year.
And Jimmy Horn is like
Jimmy Horn's in the slot. I mean, And the thing I love about this regime, they don't play favorites really. Like it's a business to them, and they've said it all the time on the mic. Like, look, the whole thing with Taylor Moton early in the week when he got emotional on Monday talking about his career there and everything else. What did Brent Tillis do? He got it right after. It was like, got a great career here. I don't know what's going to happen. We'll see. But he didn't give no guarantees at all. He's like Moton if they're crying. Like he's like, man, I don't know if I'm gonna be here. They don't care in the front office. So like, if you think they're gonna keep Thielen for sentimental reasons, I don't buy that at all. I think it's going to be who's available, who can help us now, who can help us win games. If Winfro and Horn, that combination can actually help more so than having Thielen, I could see them trading Thielen to a contender like the Rams or somebody like, you know, mid-season or whatnot. That sounds pretty feasible. Maybe you get some linebacker help there by doing it that way. That could happen before preseason's over, to be honest. And then, of course, too, JJ, as preseason goes on, we're going to have cuts from these other teams. that inside linebacker question that you had earlier on, maybe they get some depth there. Because I don't know a lot about the Christian Roseboom kid from the Rams, other than the fact that he was kind of a utility player, not a star or anything like that.
He got an opportunity to start last year just based on injuries. And like I said, like when you look at the number, when you look at the stats, the tackle stats, like it looks great.
Yeah.
But if you actually turn that film on, it leaves a lot to be desired. I'll just say it that way.
Yeah.
But I totally agree with the cuts coming up. Like we saw, like even last year, right? All the way to the end of training camp, we have a lot of cornerback questions, and then we trade a 7th round pick and Michael Barrett for our cornerback too.
Yeah.
So,
and look how that turned out. So yeah,
exactly.
I trust Dan Morgan. I trust him in his eye in terms of putting talent together for this roster at this point. Doug Conn, now we okay stacking injured players on the roster. Wow. I didn't say that. I said we okay stacking injured players.
We can't get it confused. Yeah, we can't get it confused, right? Like, okay, he's been out for a week. I think like the first 2 days were legitimate, and the past couple, specifically today and FanFest, you're not going to roll a guy that has a hamstring injury. No. You're not going to roll him out in that weather, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially not on that turf on Saturday night.
And it's like that right now, like outside. It's like the swirling kind of rain, wet thing. You know they're outside, so it's like, nah. What's the point? Like, if Winfro is in your future plans, he's going to get some time during preseason. Like, you don't have to wear him out like during the practices or whatnot. That's if he's part of your future plans. And I do believe he is part of their future plans. Like they are planning offense around him. Like some of the stuff he does, route running, none of these other wide receivers do it. Like none of them. Like they can't. And the players, J.C. Horn was on Up and Adams the other day talking about he's burning our cornerbacks. Like we can't cover them.
We can't guard them. None of us can guard them.
That's your number one cornerback saying that. Like we can't guard this dude. So are we okay stacking injured players on the roster? No. Are we okay stacking Winfro on the roster? Hell yeah.
Absolutely.
Put him over there and let him get right. And then we'll bring him in. Yeah. And then we'll go.
This is the thing. Like if you cut him, somebody else is going to pick him up, and he's just going to instantly start cooking elsewhere.
Dude, wouldn't that be the Panthers way? That we cut him and like Tampa picks him up or something, and he scorches us for 200 yards like week 16 or whatever. Like that seems like what would happen if we went that route. But we out of time here. I know a lot of y'all here enjoying us here during your lunch period, like they in school. Your lunchtime at work, in the cubicle, doing whatever. That's kind of why we designed to do it at 12:30, so you can get in, get out, eat your sandwich, get back to the work. Tomorrow is our start of our high school football stuff. Of course, sportscononmonthly.com. Massive high school football preview brought to us by our friends at Secure Financial Partners LLC in Kernersville. We just dropped the Tax 6 conference preview yesterday. Another one will drop tomorrow. They'll drop Mondays and Wednesdays over the next couple of weeks leading up to the beginning of the high school football season. And of course, Tobacco Road Sports Radio is your leader for live sports broadcast in the Triad, home of the Grimsley Sports Network, East Forsyth Sports Network, and many others. Tomorrow we will have defending state champ Grimsley head coach Daryl Brown on the show, and we'll also have East Forsyth head coach Todd Willard on the show as well. Mark Pruitt from the Winston-Salem Journal and Greensboro News and Record will be joining us as well as we start talking a little high school football. All of it's here, JJ. We've all been waiting on it, and now it's here. Best time of the year for sure. So I'm going to get out of here. Shout out to JJ for stopping by. Again, go follow them on X, FPFO_podcast for the For Panthers Fans Only pod. Shout out to everybody that came through today to make comments and talk to us live. Shout out to What's Up, Doug. Need to holler at you because I need to get you on here sometime soon as well, Doug. So be looking in your email box so we can get you through for the content creator portion of this. When we get out of here, we will see you guys tomorrow live, 12:30 p.m. on Wednesday. And again, keep note, Saturday, we're back live on WWBG 1470 a.m. starting at 11 a.m. on Saturday morning. So for JJ, I'm Des. You've been watching and listening to the Desmond Johnson Show here on Tobacco Road Sports Radio. We'll see you on Wednesday.